Well, hello there, beautiful soul. Welcome to yet another episode of Take the Lead, a consciousness movement with Angilie Kapoor, where each week we help you become one with the rhythm by stepping into your potential, by embodying your inner phenomenal leader and taking the lead of yourself and in your own life. I am your host, Angilie Kapoor. I'm also a conscious leadership coach, multi book author, inspirational speaker, as well as the founder of my leadership coaching company, Oversight Global, where we are on a mission to address the consciousness crisis in the world, one leader at a time. So, to kick things off, fun fact. Did you know that today, April 29th, is International Dance Day? Now, since on this show, we put a fun twist on leadership development by looking at the parallels or looking at leadership development from the perspective of how it parallels dancing. For instance, how self leadership is like solo dancing, while the conscious leadership of others is similar to couple dancing, such as salsa and ballroom dancing. Now, International Dance Day is an annual celebration of how dancing positively impacts our lives. Now, this day of observation was first created to allow the world to recognize dance as a professional art form and give tribute to the millions of people across generations who have dedicated their lives to this craft. Now, the International Dance Committee of the International Theater Institute chose April 29th as International Dance Day to honor Jean-Georges Nouver's birthday. Now, he is renowned as the creator of modern ballet. The day was officially recognized back in 1982. Now, you can observe this day by challenging yourself to learning a new dance that you've always wanted to learn. Now, together, a fabulous guest, and I'm super excited at what we'll be exploring in our discussion today, which will be on unleashing your inner vitality by boosting your energy levels. Today, we're going to be exploring how to harness the power of your body and mind to increase energy levels and improve your overall well being. Now, I know this is something that I definitely want to learn more about, so I'm sure that you can also relate. So be sure to stay right there. Now, it's been a few weeks since we talked about on this show the segment Leading Yourself, a daily review, where we go beyond the basics of self leadership and dive into practical tips and strategies that you can apply to your daily routine. We all have good and bad days, but what's important is how we learn from them and respond to them. Now, by analyzing our successes and failures, we can identify areas where we can improve and take charge of our life. Now, this will help you to develop a growth mindset, allowing you to face challenges with confidence and determination. So, last time we had this segment on the show, I challenged you to reflect on your day every day for a week's time. You were to think about not just tasks or events, but about your state of being. So, thinking about if you were in good spirits or if you were overwhelmed and stressed. Did you have a nice steady pace throughout your day? Or did you spend your day unable to complete tasks because you were so overwhelmed and rushing throughout your day? Now, the goal of this challenge was to help you to start thinking about how you can improve your day moving forward or how you can continue to have a great day continuously. Now, if you took me up on my challenge, how did that go for you? Let us know in the chat or by emailing us at admin@oversightglobal.com. Today, let's explore if the things that make up our daily routine are beneficial to our daily success or not. Now, my new challenge for you is to become aware of the repeated things you do on a daily basis and ask yourself if it's contributing to you having a successful day or if it's hindering you from doing so. Now, let me give you an example. For instance, I'm sure you brush your teeth every day in the morning, and I'm sure we all can agree that it's contributing to your health and therefore contributing to your daily success. But what if you routinely skip breakfast every day? So analyze for yourself if that repeated routine is helping you or hindering you from your day's success and why. And does that make sense? I hope that you'll take me up on my challenge. I'm excited to hear how it goes for you. Okay, so the premise of this show, Take the Lead, a consciousness movement, is to help you recognize and embody what I call your inner phenomenal leader, your true, authentic self that you are truly meant to be. To help you uncover the power that you have within, to step into your potential and contribute to the world as only you uniquely can. To do this in a fun way on this show, we look at the parallels of couple dancing, like salsa and ballroom dancing, with leadership development to help you become the leader of yourself and in your own life. Now, like I mentioned, today we're going to be discussing and exploring how to harness the power of your body and mind to increase your energy levels and improve your overall well being. Dancing requires a certain level of physical and mental engagement and involves harnessing the power of your body and mind to create fluid movements that capture the attention of an audience. Similarly, leadership requires the ability to harness the power of your body and mind to increase your energy levels and improve your overall well being. Now, the parallels are striking because both activities require a strong sense of self awareness, discipline, and the ability to communicate effectively. Now, through dance, individuals learn how to project their energy outward and engage with others in a way that is both powerful and captivating. Similarly, effective leaders are able to inspire and engage themselves and others by harnessing their own energy and communicating it effectively. Whether it be through dance or leadership, the ability to harness the power of your body and mind is key to achieving success and improving your overall well being. And with that, what are your thoughts or questions on my monologue today? Let me know by emailing me at admin@oversightglobal.com. All right, phenomenal leaders. As you saw there, don't forget to check out our newly redesigned website at www.oversightglobal.com. And there you will also find information on our new coaching experience that we just launched called Meant to Lead. There you'll find it as well. So be sure to check both of those out. You won't be sorry. Okay, so let's get to our guest spotlight. Now, Master Health Mentor Laurie Morse is here with us on the show today to again help us explore how to harness the power of our body and mind to increase our energy levels and improve our overall well being. Now, after practicing Chinese medicine for 30 plus years, Master Health Mentor Laurie has seen proof that the way to truly heal is by harnessing the natural principles of life force and the elements, making it possible to bring a body, mind, and spirit into high level alignment to feel good again and enjoy a life that you love. She's gathered these secrets for decades from her private practice and an online sacred health academy that has served many. Laurie is also a best-selling author of her books that include How to Reverse Heart Disease Naturally and The Art of Returning to Love, How to Show Stress the Exit to Heal, and is currently working on another book about moving through menopause with grace. Now, phenomenal leaders, please help me welcome to the show the incredible Laurie Morse. Hi, Laurie. Thank you so
Hi.
much for being here today.
Oh, it's my joy. I love it. I love the whole dance thing because I'm a dancer myself, so It's so good.
I
Yeah.
know it's so fun. Now, before I forget, we will be periodically displaying Laurie's contact info and social media platforms throughout our discussion. So, if at any time you feel called to check out more information about what she does or how she might be able to help you, be sure to go to those platforms, follow her, and connect with her. So, Laurie, I'm super excited to talk about what we're talking about today. So, boosting your energy levels. And I know that this is something that everybody, pretty much everybody, struggles with on a daily basis. I know I certainly do. So I'm
Yeah,
very interested to find out how we can do that, naturally and by harnessing what we already have.
exactly. Naturally is the key there, isn't it? Whether one wants to dance or lead or parent or garden or, anything we want to do, it requires energy, right? And so
Right.
I think that probably the best way to sort of think about it based on what you've already said so far in the show is
Mhm.
that we, each of us individually, are in a co-creative dance with
Mm.
life,
Oh, I
right?
love it.
Yeah, yeah. So even digesting our food right now or giving us these words to have this conversation or beating our heart, pumping our blood, it takes this life force. And so one of the things that I just am so madly in love with Chinese medicine for helping me understand this truth. It's not even debatable. Is that life force or energy is also light. That in
Mhm.
Chinese, the word is used qi, right? So there's certain points on the body that help to move
Right.
qi or increase qi or balance qi or whatever. Well, we all need the same thing all the time because we're dynamic expressions of this life force. And
Mhm.
so I think that one of the best, when you were talking about daily routines and daily success, I have learned that when I tend like a garden to this life force, from the time I wake up till the time I go to bed, I always have it for whatever it is that I'm, wanting to do. I'm 63, so it's not like, I'm 40 or 35. you know, before the ages of 40, we have these reserves, these tanks that never seem to feel like they empty. Well,
Mm.
after we gather a few years, it's like, I realized, especially going through menopause, and that book is imminently coming out, by the way. It'll be out next month in May.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
the Moving Through Menopause with Grace. I realized, I have to sort of plug into a different source because the excess reserves are no longer the same as they once were in younger years. So I think that it's vital to create. We don't learn this, especially in Western cultures, to create
Mhm.
this intimate and devoted relationship to the life force that is unlimited, right? Like if it was, I mean, I think that life force is a more valuable commodity than money, for example.
Mhm.
Because without life force, it doesn't matter how much money we have, we don't have the energy to do the things that we would like to do. And
Right.
I get it. One could make a case for either or, but I think that cultivating life force first is a foundational brick. And even people who have been cultivating like a spiritual practice or their spirit, or
Mhm.
to me the word chi, life force, spirit, source, the universe, God, divine, all of those are the same thing. And
Right.
it turns out that all of that is light. Every particle of the universe, every particle and wave in the universe is a light particle. And here's
Mhm.
the coolest thing ever, and this is another thing that Chinese medicine helps me understand. Light carries love. So the entire fabric of the universe, and those can never be separated. It's like the yin and the yang, or the alpha and the omega, the masculine and the feminine. Those are inseparable dance partners, if you will.
Mhm.
Yin, yin nourishes yang. We could love nourishes light, and light moves and activates love, or
Right.
yang activates yin. So
Mhm.
we are that. We are extensions in nature. We are the microcosm of the macrocosm. So we have this higher self that
Mhm.
not only resides above us and around us, but inside every cell. So when
Mm.
our whole point in being in this human experience is to make a connection with that part of ourselves, with our dance partner. Do you mind if I
Yeah.
keep using dance?
No,
Yeah.
please, please.
and go, oh, this is how I am supposed to dance. I'm not supposed to be empty of energy. I'm not supposed to be empty of creative ideas. I'm not supposed to be empty of an authentic expression or love or the capacity to thrive. None of that is supposed to be, but we drop into a matrix. And I don't know if this is true or not, but it helps me make sense of sometimes the craziness in the world, right? Is on a
Mm,
soul level, we dropped into this matrix and we said, I know if I connect my life force on the regular, that I will find my way through this maze to the cheese or the gold or whatever you want to call it, like the prize in the maze. And
mhm,
that prize or that cheese is an abundance of life force that we can then direct to be whatever we need it to be. We have desks, we have hands, we have china teacup, we have all this physical expression, and the only difference between any of it, it's all energy, but the only difference is how it's vibrating
mhm,
in our physical existence. So we get to participate in that dance with life. That was the
mm,
whole joy of saying, yes, please, I'm going to jump into a physical experience from the soup of consciousness or the pool of love or however we want to think about that, right?
mhm,
To an individualized expression extended from our higher self as these matters, as these cells and this matter and these organs, to have
mhm.
this experience and then to have conscious choice,
Yes.
right? So, yeah, I know I just said a lot right there. So, do you want to jump in, say anything?
Well, I did want to ask you. I mean, I love Chinese medicine too. I used to regularly go to acupuncture,
Yeah.
and take Chinese herbs and things like that. And I know my experience with it is that it really helps to kind of keep that energy circulating properly. I
Right.
used to experience, getting a lot of stuck energy in places that would cause me
Okay.
to have different ailments. So, when we are experiencing like a lack of energy, especially for a lot of people, I think it's like almost 50% of people from a survey done by
Yeah.
a sleep study. Yeah. They say
Yeah.
that, I mean, 46% of people say every day they, hit a slump where
Yeah.
they completely, their energy levels just completely just go down and they're tired
Right.
for a long time. So why does that happen?
Yeah, well, it's a misuse of our energy, right? Like we spend our energy um, on things that don't necessarily fuel us back. So
Mm,
I mentioned earlier that when I kind of crossed that threshold of menopause and realized, oh, I have to sort of tap into a different source here. I also realized that I could not say yes to things that wouldn't nourish me. I had to say no, only say yes to things that when I tapped into my inner wisdom, which we all have. The cool thing about like having 70 trillion cells is there's wisdom in every single one of those cells. Most of us are living in our head, right? So we kind of live from our neck up and we cut off all this cellular wisdom and intelligence that's available to us to give us the guidance. Is this thing nourishing for me? Our head wants to kind of spin around and tangle up about it, which is a loss of energy in and of itself. Um, so we lose energy on things that are frivolous, and we could say that it's old patterns of thinking. We could say it's
mhm,
old trauma. We could say it's relationships that are exhausting and draining. We could say it's toxic work environments. We could say it's poor nutrition and bad sleep hygiene and not moving. I mean, we all know, what the recipe for a good lifestyle is, but
mhm.
we don't actually always correlate it with. I mean, if it was money, if our energy was sort of, if we related to it like it was money in our bank account, we might think twice about how we spend it. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like that, I like that. I like how, um, when you said it's the misuse of our energy, we're using our energy on things that don't give us energy back. And I think a lot
Right.
of us, we tend to, like you were saying, get wrapped up in our heads.
Yes. And
Spend way too much time overthinking things, things like that.
yeah. And I would say the stress response is probably the biggest siphon of our energy tank.
Mm,
And what people don't realize, especially in our 21st century, multifaceted, busy lives, we're living in varying degrees of the stress response, whether it's, medium, small, or intense. Most people
Mhm.
think, oh, if I have a deadline or my boss is on my back or whatever, that's what we would determine as stress. But no, the absence of relaxation is stress. And most people don't know how to find their way to ease and a relaxation response by the flip of a switch. This is another consideration of managing our energy well. And I want to make sure we save time because I want to walk us all through some very distinct steps that we can take so that we can begin this practice of cultivating our energy. It's like, you mentioned people get slumps, and the survey,
Mhm.
the percentage of people is high. It would be equivalent to knowing that our gas tank in our car is on empty, but we decide we're going to take a 200-mile trip anyway and just see how it goes. At some point,
See if we'll make it.
we're going to be on fumes, right? But no, we don't usually do that. We go, okay, I'm going to go to the gas station, I'm going to fill my tank, like that. And so, but we don't think about it that way when it comes to our energy. And if we could activate a daily routine and a daily success practice that took 3 to 5 minutes to fill our tank, then we wouldn't have to be wondering if we're going to crash and burn at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right?
Mhm.
Because the tank doesn't get that, won't have the opportunity to get that low, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. So I know that a lot of us don't know what indicators indicate that our tank is starting to get depleted. We just all of a sudden just kind of crash and then that's it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, good.
what are some indicators? I mean, some early ones that we can sense where we're like, oh, okay, my tank is getting depleted. I need to fill it back up again. What are
Yeah.
some of those? Yeah.
Okay, so that's a really good question, Angilie. And I have to prefront it or preload it with if we are not present, we won't even notice the indicators. So that's like kind of,
Mhm.
foundation life, getting a grip on our life 101 is we have to be present more often than not anyway. Of course, nobody's perfect at this, but the more we practice it, the easier it becomes to go, oh, and so it could be maybe a pain in the body, like especially if someone sits a lot, like
Yeah,
a lot of people do. They're sitting, they're on computers. They don't even notice that their shoulders are turning into bricks. After like
exactly.
2 hours sitting, clamped down on a project. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but there are little tiny things that we can do to insert and change the flow of energy so that it doesn't get stuck,
Mm.
on the regular. And so being present is the first thing. So then noticing any sort of pain in the body or noticing a little slump in your energy, or maybe you feel a little thirsty, water. I think most everybody knows that we're about 70% water, just like the planet. And
Right.
water carries our electrical current. It carries our life force, right? And it carries it into every cell, every organ, every neurotransmitter, every all the functions of our body requires water. It requires
Mhm.
other things too, but water's the big one, right? So if
Right.
we're dehydrated, if we're drinking only coffee and not anything that's more, hydrating, then we're going to have a little bit of an electrical, what do you call it when you clash?
Short circuit.
Yeah, short circuit. That's it. Exactly. Thank you. We're going to short circuit, and if we're not present, we won't notice. We'll be just plowing through. Well, it's like it's so interesting, this level of torture that we inflict upon ourselves.
I know.
Yeah, it's
But most
and
of the time it's ignorance. We just don't know?
we don't know, and then if we learn, it feels hard to sort of move through the learning curve, so we just kind of revert back to our autopilot habits, which
Right.
is understandable. But and people say, oh, it's hard to be present, it's hard to cultivate energy. I wouldn't say it's hard. It's like pick your hard, It might
Yeah.
feel hard in the beginning, but it's really hard to try to operate on an empty tank. And that is a setup for disharmony, dis-ease, and problems in our mind, body, and our life. So
Mhm.
that's harder in my view. Um, anyway, did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, totally, totally.
Okay.
I so we need to be present, first of all,
Yes.
and then pay attention to the small cues that our body kinda gives us is like getting stiff,
Yeah.
having some pains, things like that, being
Yes, and the other thing
thirsty.
would be, would be a, like a tension in our head, and that would be that mental spin that that it is so easy. Worry is another one. Oh, I'm so glad that came up, because worry, it's so interesting. I've heard for years women say, "Oh, I'm just a worrier. My mother's a worrier. It's just how it is." And I'm like,
Mhm.
that you are only a worrier because you've practiced worrying for so long. It is not
Right.
natural. It is not natural to worry. It's actually more natural to let worry be sort of like a barometer of, oh, something's not right here. Let me take the lead of myself, you know, and make a decision that's going to be more serving to me than this worry, right?
Right, right,
So,
right. Yeah, I
yeah,
think I think we expend a lot of unnecessary energy on our emotions. I was
we
talking to
do.
somebody, yeah, I was talking to somebody a couple of weeks ago, and she, told me that our actual emotions, if we will actually let ourselves process them at the proper time, like right
Yes.
when it happens, they only
Yes.
last like 90 seconds.
Yes, exactly, and Chinese medicine talks about this too. It's very clear. We are
Mhm.
meant to have all the emotions, but they are meant to flow through us. We are
Right.
not meant to turn them into quicksand and live in them, but that's what we do, and it's only because, and you said this earlier, it's only because we haven't been taught how to have that, experience with our emotions. We're so afraid of them. We're worried they're gonna trigger the same trauma experiences we've had before.
Mhm.
But anyway, yeah, you're absolutely right. And one little sort of tip, I don't know, tip that you can play with is, normally we start feeling an emotion and then we want to run. We want to shut it down, sweep it under the carpet,
Right.
push it into the closet and slam the door, and run away from it. But if you would practice with, um, and you don't have to take your most dramatic emotions, but you can take some smaller ones. And if you practice just turning toward it and just letting it be, and even acknowledging it and giving it some degree of acceptance from your own heart. Your head
Mhm.
won't want to do this, but your heart already knows how to do this. It's just that the head gets in the way and sort of demands, to be at the wheel. And it's like, nope, you got to, this is another practice, being present, is to put the head in the co-pilot seat and let the heart be in the pilot seat. That's the design. The
Right.
head is the servant to the heart, not the other way around. But most of our heads are running the show and making it seem to us as if we don't let it run the show, everything will crash and burn. The sky will fall, all the balls will drop, and it will be the worst outcome possible. And that's just simply not true.
Right. Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We always worry about, the worst case scenarios. I always, when my clients worry about that, I just say, okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
What will happen if the worst thing that you're imagining actually happens? And then
Yes.
they end up talking to me through what they would do. And I said, okay, now you don't have to worry about it because you just told me that you have a plan if your worst case scenario actually happens. So stop worrying about it.
Right. And you know who has the best plan ever? Our higher self.
Hmm.
She or he knows, has a broader view, and when we connect our heart to the heart of our higher self, and you know the I want to make sure that when we talk about the higher self, it's also it's in our heart, so it's very intimate as well as universal. It's both.
Right.
And
Hmm.
it's a really important, this is another dance, right? It's a really important practice to, play with that kind of like what is a dance step that we could say that would be like a, a lean in and a lean.
Cha-cha.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, I want to feel my higher self in my body, and then I want to feel, the universe connected to that.
Mhm.
When we turn to that part of ourselves, when we're present enough to make that connection and to just call that in, the solutions, the wisdom, the creative ideas are endless, and
Mhm.
the outcomes we get are the best possible outcomes, not the worst or barely enough, right? We settle for barely enough, and we're terrified of the worst.
Right,
But those
yeah,
aren't the only
exactly.
options. We have this whole, tapestry of life that is unlimited. And one of the ways, so let's, if we can,
Yeah,
let's
of
talk
course.
about like the practicality of this. I
Mhm.
think I love waterfalls, and I didn't realize when I started loving waterfalls so many years ago, I didn't realize it was going to serve me so well. most people, whether they love waterfalls or not, they can certainly envision a waterfall, and you can
Yes.
certainly go to Google and, type in waterfall and see, So this is how it goes from the connection from our higher self into us. It's this waterfall of light that connects through the top of our head. This is the whole base. This is what the whole chakra systems are, the energy centers are based on.
Mhm.
Goes to the top of our head. If you take a breath and you let it infuse your brain, by the way, the brain chemistry when you do this is healing. The brain chemistry that gets released when we're worrying or stressful is corrosive, destructive, and it tears our body down and leaves behind it inflammation. Nobody wants that, right? Yes, eating
Right.
vegetables is great for inflammation, but if we leave this vital piece out, we're going to be paddling our boat still upstream, right? That's not very enjoyable. So
Mhm.
into the top of our head, filling our brain center. This can take 1 minute, right? Drop it down through our throat center, down through our high heart, and into our heart center, right?
Okay.
In our heart center, imagine that it's overflowing like a fountain in a park. So that then now it's spilling into all of your entire body. And I guarantee if you're present enough with this, you'll notice that every single one of your 70 trillion cells is so thirsty for this light. It's liquid light, right? And it comes from the cosmic realms. Most scientists think that air is oxygen, and it is oxygen, but there
Mhm.
are so many other cosmic forces that we take in, and when we're conscious about this waterfall of light, it increases the amount of cosmic life force that fills our system and fuels our cells, right?
Mhm.
It also activates sort of like a latent energy center in each of our cells. So 70 trillion cells, that's a lot of energy, right?
Yeah.
And it opens that up to be released into our system. So that's one of the steps. And then can I move on or do you want
Oh,
to
of
say?
course. Yes. No, go ahead.
Yeah. So the other thing that's I think very important is to root ourselves into the core of Mother Earth. So the lowest point on the body in Chinese medicine is at the bottom of the foot. It's right. Should I show? I have a sock on. Well,
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
right at the bottom of the foot. Let me see if I can do this without. So here's there. So here's our ball, and it's right there.
Ah,
Right.
got it. Okay.
Yeah. So if you imagine, and this is actually happening anyway, but if you can, each of us can enhance this and activate it, right? So imagine that there's that point opens up and there's roots that drop down, and they
Mhm.
drop down into the core of Mother Earth, and they anchor you. They anchor you into the core of Mother Earth, and they hold you steady and sturdy and stable and strong, so that then you can lift the energy up from Mother Earth, from that core of Mother Earth, up through
Right.
those same points, and fill your feet, your ankles, your legs, your knees, your hips, and your entire lower center, your root chakra, your sacral center. Your sacral center is your creative center, whether you're making babies or anything else. And by the way, we're all creative because we are the creative life force. That creative life force is coursing through our veins.
Mhm.
So it doesn't mean you have to paint something for the walls of the Smithsonian or sculpt something for Italy. It just means that you want to be in a relationship with and in communion with that creative life force, so you know how to be expressing yourself throughout your day. It could be how you have a really creative conversation with your teenage son. It
Mhm.
doesn't all of the everything we're doing is creative, and everyone's doing it anyway. I'm just asking people to get a little bit more conscious about being in this dance with the creative life force, and then lifting it up through our digestive center, which is all of the liver and all the digestive organs, and then drawing that energy from the core of Mother Earth to meet the energy from above in the heart.
Oh, okay.
That meeting place is like a mini Big Bang every time we make the connection, right? And then that energy moves out through our arms and our hands, and it infuses everything we do.
Mhm.
So it might seem a little bit like, oh, wow, I have to practice, tapping my head and rubbing my belly and chewing gum and walking at the same time. It is a little bit like that. But I think you have the link to the free gift, right?
Yes.
Yes. So that free gift, I really recommend people get it. It's a 5-part thing, and you do one at a time. So you just practice the being present, and then you practice the grounding, and then you practice the connecting, and then
Mhm.
and then you put it all together so that you own it. The key is that you have to own it. And so I practically feel like I'm at a point, I'm being dramatic, but I'm begging people to do this because I know what it will give you, but you don't know until you give it some, fair time. And then you realize, oh, every time you do it, there's something a little more subtle and different that you feel and you sense, and that affects your life in a positive way, or maybe settles your mind or brings more peace to your heart. There's so much richness and gold in this practice, that I could literally talk till midnight about it. But I think we have the the key points.
So let me ask you. So do you recommend that, somebody does this first thing in the morning, maybe a few times throughout the day, and then
Yes,
before bed?
excellent question. Yes. I'm a big fan of setting our day up. So I
Me too.
do have a knowing that a key, whatever your ritual practice is, some days you're going to have a lot more time, some days you're going to have less time, but don't skip it, because
Mhm.
it adds up and it builds a momentum and it creates a brain track, and it just is nothing good for you. And then my personal practice is I drink a lot of tea, so it means that I need to use the restroom a lot. So every time I go to the restroom, I do this practice, just sort of a shortened version from what I do in the morning
Mhm.
and the practice that we're talking about. And so I have regular points throughout the day, as you mentioned, where I'm back connected, because it's just so easy to fall out of connection. We can
Right,
have the most
exactly.
amazing morning ritual, and then literally 2 minutes later, we get a text and we're out.
Yep.
you know? So it's just making sure we string together more and more moments throughout the day where we're coming back to center, where we're
Mhm.
tapping into our peace, where we're connecting to, the higher intelligence that we're a part of. So why wouldn't we want to connect to it? That kind of thing.
Right, right. So I
Yeah.
know that we talked about how can you actually direct energy for healing or for increasing
Yes.
your business and your income, your
Yeah.
relationships. I mean, basically everything, every aspect of life.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yes. So that actually is one of my favorite things to play with. And I will say that if you don't have a solid foundation built within yourself,
Hmm.
it won't be as potent or powerful to direct energy.
Okay.
It's not that it won't work, but it might be hit and miss, and then you'll think to yourself, "Well, this doesn't work. Why bother?" It really starts with that foundational, solid place of your own full tank, your own cup overflowing, and then
Hmm.
you have an ability to see. So you can direct energy to your bank accounts. You can direct energy to your throat chakra before you go out on a stage to do a talk.
Hmm.
You can imagine that you have energy, that waterfall. I keep using the waterfall because it's just so easy to envision, right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
waterfall, and then you're connected, and say you're, 3 minutes before you're going out on stage, and you flow it out your throat center, and you put some intention in that light, that every word that come out of your mouth be perfect and lands in the hearts and minds of people sitting in the audience, or whether it's virtual or physical, doesn't matter. And you can send that light ahead of you. If you're going to be with someone who's not feeling well, you can send light anywhere on the planet, to anyone, to any part of any land, and you can ask for blessings to just be infused in that person, or the organ of the person, if they're struggling with something, dis-ease in a certain part of their body. All we
Hmm.
have to do is envision it. And people think, I've heard people say, well, I can't really, what's the other word that's used? Not envision, but, when we try to see things in our mind,
Oh,
not our
visualize.
imagination. Visualization. Yeah, I'm not good at visualization, people will say. Well, here's we're gonna bring back that worry thing again, because people are really good about seeing the worst case scenario, which is the
Right.
worrying, which
Hmm.
means you can actually pull that energy back into you, and almost direct your mind to see an outcome that would be more serving, even if it's a modicum more than the thing you were worrying about. You'll get better and better at it as you increase your capacity to direct what you see in your mind's eye, and to put visions in there that would be healing and serving. So you can
Hmm.
draw, if you're already doing the work of filling yourself and keeping your tank full and connected and rooted and all that and present, then you can take the energy that's filling you. I didn't see this in the beginning. But I knew there was something to it, so I didn't stop doing it. And then
Hmm.
eventually I saw it. And you can lace, I mean, now I'm getting a little more, past beginning stage, but you can lace colors, because colors, there's 12 divine rays and they all have very specific qualities to them, like
Mhm.
compassion or abundance, or there's a lot of different qualities, and you can lace that in your waterfall and then send it to a part of your body, or send it to a person or a certain scenario or a place.
Oh, wow.
I know. I mean, when my heart breaks for things like Ukraine and Gaza and just all the unrest in the world, this is the thing that brings me the most peace, because there's not too much a lot of us can do. I mean, obviously some people are going over with aid and all that, but that I know that's not my calling, but I
Right.
want to do something. And so it feels so, um, what's the word? It just feels so right to
Mhm.
wield light, to certain places. And I know that, for those who are open, they will receive it. They will get some comfort. They will get connection with, a food bank, or a
Mhm.
drop of resources, whatever, I trust that. This is how much the light has taught me to trust. So I would say, I don't know how much time we have left, but if you want the most true, if anyone who's listening wants the most true and right path for you
Mhm.
to line up your mind and your body and your spirit, working with your light as it is uniquely your own, it will teach you everything you need to know. That's been my experience. And yes, I read spiritual books, and I have a lot of spiritual teachers and all that, but it's really the light in my willingness to be present with it that has guided me and taught me the most.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that, a majority of people, they're just not conscious that they have this light within them, and that
Well,
it
exactly.
has so much inner knowledge and wisdom, and can, teach them so much.
Exactly. And it's very personal medicine to each one of us.
Right.
It's medicine that is probably the best medicine available. No offense to, all the in my view, something like Chinese medicine, that's training wheels. That's training wheels for people to discover what their energy feels like in their body, and then to build this practice so that
Mhm.
they can move their energy when it feels stuck. And I mean,
Right.
of course, I'll be treating people for as long as I'm able to, but I want people, it's that idea of teach people to fish, don't just give them a fish
Exactly.
tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm not a fan. I mean, last case option would be to take medication. I talk to more and more people who feel that way. So we want to turn to this as the first and best medicine that we have, and then it will direct us if we need to go to this therapy, or if we need to
Mhm.
not go to this appointment, or whatever. It will teach us the right next steps based on what's unfolding for us, with the outcome being the best possible outcome, because we've set
Right.
it up that way. Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately, especially in Western culture, we tend to go to those things last and to go to medication first.
Well, it's true. I've watched this for years, because it's been a long time that I've been doing this, where people end up in my office as a last case ditch effort.
Right.
And then
Exactly.
they
Because,
always say, I wish I would have tried this sooner.
right.
I wish I would have tried this sooner. And I don't know if this is going to happen in our lifetime. I kind of get the sense it might, that there will be a situation where we won't have access to the same resources that we have. So we will need to rely on this life force that is already every particle of our being. So
Right.
it's my real strong knowing that just cultivating that relationship and tending it, and especially in when things aren't, when the shit isn't hitting the fan. you know Pardon my French, I hope that's not offensive.
Yeah, no worries.
When we're in a more balanced and sort of things are flowing way, it's
Mhm.
easier to tend this. When things start getting challenging, it's, unless we have a solid foundation, footing, and practice, it's hard to reach for that first. But
Right,
here's
exactly.
one thing that's really important: the cultural current of disease is strong, and I
Mhm.
highly recommend every person consider getting out of that current and letting themselves be flowed by the river of light. And
Yes.
then they'll know when to go access, you know, medicine in other ways, but don't rely on it. It's
Right.
not, yeah.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, Lori, thank you so much for being here. We all have a couple of minutes left, but can you just tell people how they can find you, connect with you, access that amazing free class that you have that
Yeah.
I am
So
sure going to do?
yes. So the Create to Heal Studio, at the bottom, there's two things you can get for free. One is this 5-day energy kickstart. And
Mhm.
this is where I would beg everybody to just do it because you will get so much out of it. I know I've already said that. I'm just saying it again. We learn by repetition. And then there's also a book, my second book, The Art of Returning to Love, in PDF form is free if you feel inclined to, to dig into that.
Oh,
Um,
awesome. Okay.
yeah, but start with the 5-day energy. Oh, and here, if you go to this link, I don't know if that's going to be linked somewhere in show notes or anything, but the
Yes.
sacredhealthacademy.com, Kickstart Your Energy 5-day reset. That will give you, and if you see menopause on the page, um, it's in the middle of being changed. It's the same Kickstart for everyone, male,
Okay.
female, menopause, young, it doesn't matter. Um, then that's the place to start. That will give you your 5 steps that you practice bringing them together, and that is a foundation that you live upon, and then you have access to everything you need for the rest of your life.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. Lori, thank you so much for being here and for
My
just
pleasure.
giving us all of this insight and knowledge. I mean, I definitely know that I'm going to try and take some of this and start living with it in my life. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. It's my pleasure.
All right. Now, if you've been watching the show, you know that this month of April has been Autistic Awareness Month. Now, because I and my team here at Oversight Global want to assist in the movement to promote inclusion, acceptance, and support for people with autism, we have been running a special campaign all month long where all proceeds from the sales of any versions of our books, Mindset, The Power of the Mind, Leader Mindset Activation, and Leader Mindset Activation, the accompanying workbook, those proceeds will be donated to the autism organization, the Lake County Special Needs Birthday Club. Now, these books provide powerful tools and strategies to help you transform from merely managing the different aspects of your life to truly leading, as well as cultivating a mindset for success and taking control of your destiny. Now, the end of the month of April is just around the corner, so be sure to take advantage of this opportunity to not only enhance and accelerate your own personal growth and development, but simultaneously help to bring additional resources to the movement to expand autism awareness. You only have a couple more days to do this, so be sure to use the link that's on the screen now to purchase any or maybe all of our books. All right, and there you have it, my amazing, phenomenal leader. As this episode of Take the Lead, a consciousness movement with Angilie Kapoor, comes to a close, I want to thank my guest, Master Health Mentor Laurie Morse, again for joining us on the show today and for sharing her incredible knowledge and insights with us on how we can boost our energy levels and improve our overall well being by harnessing the power of our body and mind that we already have within. And also, thank you, you beautiful soul, for being here with us today as well. Remember, like I always say, I don't believe in coincidences, and you, bright light, were meant to be here today to receive whatever message you were meant to receive from this episode. So keep showing up, keep loving on yourself, and keep making progress on your journey to becoming the phenomenal leader I know you truly are. Now, be sure to join me next week as we'll be exploring another amazing topic with our special guest, the soulmate alchemist, Cassandra De La Thea. She will be here with us on the show next week, and we'll be exploring the power of co empowerment and leadership and the importance of building strong relationships. Now, I have already had the amazing privilege of already having an interview discussion with Cassandra, and I can tell you she has so many invaluable nuggets on having empowering relationships, both personally and professionally. So trust me, it'll be another conversation that you don't want to miss. So be sure to set your reminders to be back here with me next Monday, May 6th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. All right, my beautiful, phenomenal leader, have a great week, and I will see you next Monday. Take care. Coming up next week on Take the Lead, a consciousness movement with Angilie Kapoor. Guest Cassandra De La Thea is here to discuss the importance of co-empowerment in relationships. Don't miss next week's episode on E360 TV.